Good morning, traders. How are you all doing today? Karibuni sana. Glad you could all join us this fine Thursday morning. I hope everyone is doing well today. So, for those who are new, my name is Mitch Kaniaru, and I'm a trader with Afriforex. I want to welcome you to another Afriforex daily analysis session. Now, you know the gist of it. During these sessions, we as a Afriforex team, we analyze the markets early in the morning, identifying what trading opportunities we'll be looking at taking for the day, and we do share that information with you. So if you have any questions or queries, feel free to ask them in the chat box. The team is there to respond to you, or even if it's just to say hello. So let's jump straight into it. So as usual, we'll start off with our watch list. So yesterday, you can see that there's a big change, or this slight change between yesterday and today. So yesterday, our focus was looking for buying opportunities on the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, and the Canadian dollar. And we mixed and matched these three pairs on the buy side with the pairs on the sell side. So that was the Swiss franc, the yen, the euro, the British pound, as well as the US dollar. Now, today, there has been a slight change. We will still be looking for buying opportunities on the Australian dollar. However, you can see the euro and the British pound have moved to the buy side, and the New Zealand dollar and the Canadian dollar did move to the sell side. So we do have a bit of a change in our watch list, but at least that will also give us many opportunities as well. Now, in terms of fundamentals, we do have a number of fundamentals today. Remember, I did point out during the London session throughout this week, we've hardly had anything. But today, we can clearly see there's going to be a lot. You can see a lot of British pound news, some GDP news, which is definitely going to bring in a lot of volatility. Can see also some euro news, some CPI, and this is all happening at 10 o'clock during the Frankfurt market open, not even at 11. So do take note of that. And we can see we have some more news, some Swiss franc fundamentals. Today is going to be quite active throughout the London session, so we do end up expecting some good moves there. But if the market does end up changing in terms of the bias, we will end up informing you at least before the US session whether or not there's been any changes to the euro, the Swiss franc, or the British pound pairs. But for now, our watch list will remain the same for this. So let's have a look at the pairs that we did have yesterday that we're not going to be looking at today. Then we look at a few screenshots. Since we did get quite a few, then we will jump on to today's pairs. So we'll start off with the euro against the Australian dollar. Now, the euro pairs really did fall off the watch list. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out and the fact that we were looking for selling opportunities. You can see once the price did end up breaking and holding above this red support and resistance area, and you can see the timing, that was at 11 o'clock. This pair did fall off our watch list. And you can see it did get confirmation by the price actually holding above. You can see that was around 4:30 when there were some news events that did end up coming out. So unfortunately, this one fell off the watch list as soon as. So at that point in time, there was no trading opportunity for us. Similar situation did end up happening with the British pound against the Australian dollar. Because remember, we were looking for selling opportunities based on these three areas. You can see where the price was. We either wanted the price to either come down and go below, or if we do end up getting some sort of probe in the price held below within this red support resistance area, we would be able to look for selling opportunities then. But you can see the price managed to break this area to the upside around 11 o'clock during the London market open. You can see it did get confirmation the price is holding above, and once it started moving to the upside, ideally this pair did fall off our watch list. You can see later it did end up attempting to try and come down lower, but at that point in time, this wasn't very convincing, and most likely we were not necessarily on the charts at that time. So unfortunately, this is a pair that's off our watch list for today. So the next pair we did have, or at least yes, was the New Zealand dollar against the Swiss franc. Now on this kind of pair, yesterday our bias was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out. Now earlier in the morning, the price was so close within the seller's area. Remember, we did mention we either wanted a pullback to come in within one of these buyers' areas, and we did mention we wanted to see some signs of big boy buyers actually coming in. So you can see the first area, there was hardly anything, and during the London market open, you can see the price managed to continue coming down. Had this support and resistance area, because I did point out that this is also a bias area, where if we did end up finding some sort of movement there, we could potentially end up getting an opportunity. But you can see no reaction did end up happening within that area. We can see later on, we did get a very nice probe. So at around 4:30, the price looked as if it was breaking this area to the downside. And at 5:30 during the New York Stock Exchange open, you can see the price came back in and held above. There was a very nice buying opportunity there. If you did end up managing to grab your buy, you can see the problem area that we did point out for you to manage your trade from. You can see the price didn't manage to go up higher. But today, this pair could potentially end up giving us issues because the pairs are both on the same side. And that's the reason why it is going to be off our watch list for today. Now, the next pair we did have was the New Zealand dollar against the Japanese yen. You can see our bias yesterday was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the buys did work out quite well. Initially, we were up within this particular area. Remember, we did want some sort of pullback coming in based on even the illustration here. You can see the price managed to come all the way back down, was holding within this particular buyer's area. But if we do note the timings, it only started taking off at 5:30 during the New York Stock Exchange Open, but we did get the market probing here, and it did manage to go to the upside quite well. So even though we have managed to break and attempting to go up, you can even clearly see the fact that we're not necessarily going any higher. These are pairs that could potentially give us issues today. So the next pair we did have was the New Zealand dollar against the US dollar. Now, in this kind of pair, you can see the three areas that we had pointed out, looking for buying opportunities. Now, initially, we wanted to see whether or not we could grab our buying opportunity within the support and resistance area. Hardly anything happened during the London session. During the US market open around 4 o'clock, the price was within this buyer's area, but you can see the huge spike that did end up happening, where the price looked as if it was coming to the downside, ideally looking as if it had fallen off our watch list. But you can see from 5:30, the market did end up starting to attempt to go to the upside. Now, there was no real trading opportunity, but remember, if this is a huge probe, you can clearly see the market, after going to the upside, it came back to this support and resistance area, and you can clearly see the market has attempted to go to the upside. So even if you did manage to grab that trading opportunity within this particular area down here and manage your trade within here, you can clearly see that trade would have worked out. But unfortunately, could possibly find this market just ranging between these two levels, because remember, both the New Zealand dollar and the US dollar on the same side. And that's the reason why this pair is off our watch list. So moving on to the next pair that we did have for review is the Canadian dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, in this kind of pair, our bias yesterday was to look for buying opportunities. And you can see we did end up getting a very nice probe right here. Remember, I had pointed out yesterday, these probes do end up giving you some nice entry criteria, so at least it's an entry signal sometimes. Then you can see the price did manage to end up giving us a pullback. We got a very nice probe where the price looked as if it was breaking this area to the downside. It managed to come to the upside, and the price was holding above. And if you do note the time, that was at exactly 4 o'clock during the US market open. And you can see the price did manage to shoot to the upside. Remember, I had pointed out there was a small buyer's area here where the price could react from. And you can see even after the market did manage to come to the upside, you can see we got a pullback towards that same area before the market did end up attempting to go to the upside. If we do look at the timings at that point in time, as you can see, that was at 5:30 during the New York Stock Exchange Open. And that's the reason why we always point out these timings. I know we definitely sound like a broken record now, but do take note of the market opening times. They will end up improving on your trading. So moving on to the next pair for review, we did have the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. Now, in this kind of pair, our bias was to look for the buying opportunities. And you can see the price was within the seller's area throughout the whole of the London session. So ideally, whether wanted the price giving us more of a pullback or breaching this area to the upside and holding above. Now, you can see we hardly got the pullback. It attempted to come down, but hardly did that. And at 4:30, yes, we did get the price breaking this area to the upside. But remember, as you can see based on this illustration, to get the price holding above, we could potentially look for buying opportunities. And you can see that's exactly what happened. The price held above that area at 5:30, and there was a buying opportunity available for us. But unfortunately, today, this pair is going to be off our watch list. Now, last but not least, for the review pairs, we did have the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. Now, on this kind of pair, remember I had pointed out this pair has been ranging for quite a while. So if I just zoom out, you can clearly see how much of a range it's been, just bouncing between these two levels. Apologies for the ad. Bouncing between these two levels. And remember, yesterday, the price was back within the buyer's area. The fact that we're ranging did mention if we're looking for a trade within a range, the best place to look for yourself is at the top of the range. And you can see that's exactly what happened. We managed to get our pullback. The price came back towards the seller's area. You do note the timings. That was at 5:30. That's when the price did manage to come down. And ideally, you should have managed your trade within this buyer's area. So even though right now it is attempting to try and come to the downside, we are not too sure because you've seen the fact that this market has been ranging. Probes are a normal thing. So just you can clearly see this is where the price managed to get to yesterday and still managed to come back and hold above. So this is not necessarily a breach yet, possibly until the price falls below. But unfortunately, also for us, we're not going to be focusing on this pair today. So that's it for the pairs for review. I know there were quite a few because the fundamentals ideally, or at least our watch list did change quite a bit. So right now we'll end up having a look at a number of screenshots that we didn't manage to get before we do jump on to today's pairs. So starting off with the screenshots, it seems like people were really on a roll. So shout out to, first of all, Alvin. Alvin, you did manage to grab a very, very nice selling opportunity on the British pound against the US dollar. Very nice sell right there at the extreme. You can see the market came down. I know you did manage your trade within that problem area because we know this price did manage to actually go to the upside a bit, but very, very well done. You guys managed to grab very nice trades. And I think you still have one more remaining and your stop loss is within your entry. So very well done. But I think by this time, you should be able to move your stop loss a bit lower. But good job on this trade, Alvin. Keep up the good work that you're doing. And next, we also did get Brabin. Brabin, we do know you love trading silver. You didn't manage to grab a nice buying opportunity on silver. You can see the price has really gone up in your favor. And you can see your stop loss is already way above your entry. So very, very good job on this trade, Brabin. Keep up the great work that you're doing. So also next we get Dan Pickett. Dan, you seem to have been on a roll yesterday with the indices. So here you did end up grabbing a buying opportunity on the Nasdaq. So I guess it was after the market did spike to the downside, gave a huge probe, and you managed to grab a buying opportunity, and your stop loss is already above your entry. But I do know that same trade really did continue going because it seems like you added another trade on top of that, and we can clearly see the market is in your favor. So very, very good job on that trade, Dan Pickett. And similar situation with the Dow Jones. Managed to grab the buying opportunity, I guess, after the market probe, got a very nice buy within a very nice area. Already you've made it risk-free. Your stop loss is already below you, or at least at your entry point, and the trade did manage to continue going up in your favor. So very, very good job on this trade, Dan Pickett. Keep up the good work that you're doing, and very well done. So next and last but not least, we did get Machine. Machine, have to see a screenshot here. You know you love trading the Nasdaq as well. So very nice buying opportunities. You did manage to grab multiple buys. That's okay. Ideally, you are waiting for those pullbacks as they're coming in. And the good thing is, or at least the one thing you need to make sure is if you're going to end up entering many trades, make sure it's similar to a pyramid, where at the base, it's the biggest part. So if you're going to enter trades, make sure that the biggest lot sizes are at the bottom. Because if, for example, you end up entering many buys, if you get a buy at the top there, and it's a large lot size, it could easily cut out all those profits if you just end up getting a small pullback. That's why we always say as the trade is going, reduce your lot sizes so it becomes smaller and smaller, similar to a pyramid. But very well done because you never know how far the market could go. But very good job on these trades. And I do end up hoping I can see your stop losses are already above your entry. So very, very well done on these trades, Machine. So remember, guys, if you do manage to take any setup based on things that we do share, feel free to send them in to us. We should have our contact details right there in the video description. So let's focus on today's pairs. So we'll start off with the Australian dollar pairs, mix and match them with the pairs on the sell side, move on to the euro, then the British pound, before we do have a look at the indices as well as gold and silver. Now, we'll start off here with the Australian dollar against the Swiss franc. Now, yesterday we did end up having this kind of pair and we were looking for buying opportunities. You can see the buys worked out quite well. As you can clearly see, we did manage to get a pullback as the price managed to come all the way back down. I had pointed out these buyers areas, but you can clearly see the price managed to continue going down lower, came back towards the main buyers area, and you can see this is around 4 o'clock or 5:30 is when it actually started taking off to the upside. So you can clearly see the market opening times that we keep pointing out. But the fact that the price has come up quite aggressive, we're still within the same areas that we have been focusing on yesterday. So we'll still be looking for buying opportunities. But right now, the game plan, we've clearly seen that the big boy buyers are definitely here based on how they've reacted. And you can see the sellers, the way they're coming in does seem to be quite slow. So for us, we will still be looking for buying opportunities. What could potentially happen is we could end up either finding this market holding within this area, giving us another probe. You can't see how many probes it has done, but it probably hasn't moved because the market hasn't opened yet. Remember, we do have the Frankfurt market open as well as the London market open coming up. Now, this pair, what could end up happening, just because we have these particular levels, the price could end up reacting from here. There's also the possibility, you can see this blue support and resistance area, it was where the sellers did push down quite a bit. So there's also the possibility the price can come all the way down towards this particular support and resistance area before you possibly find the market going to the upside. So just take note of that. But overall, we definitely will still be looking for buying opportunities here on the Australian dollar against the Swiss franc. So hope that is clear. As we move on to the next Australian dollar pair, which is the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. This pair really did work out quite well, pretty clear cut in terms of how a trend usually, or at least should be. But you can see we did manage to end up getting this pullback coming in back within our support and resistance area. I know I sound like a broken record, but if you do note the time, that was around 5:30 when the market did actually start taking off to the upside. you can see there was a buying opportunity then. The price breached, once the price breached and held above, if you were on the chart at that time, around 7 o'clock, you can see there was another buying opportunity to take it up higher. So today, the bias is still going to be looking for buying opportunities. So we focus on these three areas to look for these potential buys. So one thing to take note of, even just based on how the story has been, remember I had pointed out, whenever we end up getting a pullback, the objective is to end up making a new high. Now, if you realize the fact, yes, we've made a new high within here, we've got a pullback back towards the same support and resistance area. And yes, the buyers have attempted to go up. But the fact that we have not necessarily gotten a new high, maybe we might need better price than this. Maybe all those late buyers are probably still jumping in their buys now, and all their stop losses are below within this area. So don't be surprised if that's the case, and you could maybe find this market looking as if it's coming to the downside, maybe stopping people out, inciting a few people to look for sales. But if you get a probe within this particular area, evidence that shows that the price is actually holding above this support and resistance area, we should be able to look for buying opportunities here. But also be aware, especially once this market does this, you could end up also finding the market coming towards this blue support and resistance area. So just watch out for these areas to potentially look for your buying opportunities. But for now, we just need to be patient. Let's wait to see what ends up happening within this support and resistance area. So hope that's clear as we move on to the next Australian dollar pair we do have. It seems that the Australian dollar pairs really did work out quite well, just inciting very many people to look for the sells. Because you can clearly see early in the morning, we were within this particular seller's area. Remember, I had pointed out that the market had probed within this area, and the fact it was holding below, chances are we could end up coming to the downside. Now, I wanted to see what kind of reaction would happen within this particular areas. You can see I had also pointed out this blue SNR, because we did note that there were some buyers within that area. But the price managed to come all the way down to the extreme area within that location. You can see the timing, 5:30, that's when it actually started taking off to the upside. If you did miss this trade, you can even see based on the illustration I had pointed out, the price never actually broke this support and resistance area. Because you can see the market came down, but it came straight back up and showed us evidence it was holding above. So there was a buying opportunity then. And you can see the reason why we always tell you to manage your trades within these areas, because you can clearly see those sellers did end up giving issues. So today, the bias is still going to be looking for buying opportunities, but we realize we're back within an area where there's sellers, so that's not the best place to look for your buying opportunities. But the one thing we will note is the fact that you can see how the market reacted within the sellers the first time, and now look at the second time when the market came towards the same area, look at just how far they could get to. So the first time they managed to get all the way down to within this area, from all the way down there. The next push was only here, so you don't know whether or not the next push might end up being slightly lower. So we'll watch out still for looking for these buying opportunities. That's because we're within an area where the sellers, one thing could happen, either the price could breach this area to the upside, and if we do find the price holding above, we should be able to look for buying opportunities, or you could easily find the market, maybe even just giving us a pullback, coming back within one of these support and resistance areas before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. So we'll wait to see what ends up happening. But right now, since we're within the area where the sellers, we do need to be a bit patient. You can see yesterday, the market did end up coming down quite aggressive. You'd never be surprised about what the market could do. But overall, we definitely know we will still be looking for buying opportunities here. So moving on to the next Australian dollar pair. So here, these are brand new entry on our watch list. So this is the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. And here we will be looking for buying opportunities. Now, these are the levels that we have identified, because you can clearly see the market has been going to the upside. But the fact that we have not really been able to break this high, you can see after the move to the upside, we've got a pullback within this support and resistance area. We have attempted to go up higher. We have not been able to. So there's a possibility that we need a better price than here. And that's the reason why we have our highlighted area right here. So overall, we will still be looking for those buying opportunities, but we wait to see whether or not we could end up getting some sort of pullback, inciting people to look for those selling opportunities before we're able to potentially look for those buys on the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. So wait and see what ends up happening, because it does seem to be in some sort of potential range as well. But remember, if the price is able to continue going to the upside and it does end up holding above, then at that point in time, we should also be good to go to look for those buying opportunities. But for now, I think for this one, it's best to just be patient. And also in terms of the number of pips, I know this seems like a lot, but this overall is just 50 pips, just from this at the bottom here to the top. So even though it does look quite big, it's not necessarily that many pips. So let's move on to the next and last Australian dollar pair we do have. So right here, we have the Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. And here, our bias is going to be looking for buying opportunities. The market seems to be in a range. You can see bouncing between these two levels. So the fact that being the case, we will be looking for our buys, and the fact that we're at the bottom of the range is a good sign for us. At least we're within a good area. So we're looking to see whether or not we can grab a buying opportunity within this location. Should be able to manage our trade within that top area right there. Apologies for that. So we should be able to manage our trade within this seller's area right there at the top. So right now, you can't even see the market gave a very nice probe where the market attempted to go to the downside, but came up quite aggressively. And the sellers have come down struggling, and you can see the buyers who still seem to be holding within this area. So overall, we'll definitely be looking for buying opportunities within here. We do get some sort of probe or price action signal, we could potentially look for a buy there. Or if the price is able to break this area to the upside and the price ends up holding above, then we should be good to go with looking for another buying opportunity as well. But for this one, remember, if the price breaks and falls below the red SNR, this pair will fall off our watch list. So I hope that's clear on what the game plan is on all the Australian dollar pairs. As you can see, we've mixed the Australian dollar with the Swiss franc all the way to the Canadian dollar. So right now, we're going to move on to the euro pairs and do the same thing. So we'll start off here with the euro against the Swiss franc, brand new entry on our watch list. And here, our bias is going to be looking for buying opportunities. You can see the market seems to be on the way up quite aggressively, which is okay, because we definitely know the buyers are in. But the main thing, remember, what we want is a pullback. So right now, it does look as if it's attempting to break this area to the upside. We'll wait and see. But just because the market hasn't opened, and remember, this is dealing with the euro. And remember, we have a lot of euro and British pound fundamentals coming out at 10 o'clock. So just watch out for that. Don't be surprised that right now, it's very obvious to everyone that it's a buy. So if everyone is jumping in on buys, what's most likely to happen? Ideally, you need to sellers in order for you to look for the buys. So chances are we could end up easily getting this market coming back down within this support and resistance area before we do end up finding those buying opportunities coming in. So just take note of that. Don't necessarily jump in on the trades at exactly when the news event comes out. Give it a bit of time, around 10, 20 minutes or so. Just have some time after that so that you can be able to see what effect has it actually happened on the charts. Then it's when you can end up looking for your opportunity there. But overall, definitely we'll still be looking for buying opportunities on that there. So moving on to the next euro pair we do have. Right here, we have the euro against the Japanese yen. And overall, here, our bias is going to be looking for buying opportunities. You can see we have made a new high and we're back in the seller's area. But if you realize, we've just probed that location. So when probes happen, we're most likely to either come to the downside a bit lower. So wait to see what ends up happening. Potentially, we can end up getting this pullback coming in within this support and resistance area for us to look for the potential buying opportunities. But also be aware that there is this support and resistance area that was breached as well. So even though we have these three main locations, be aware that the price might still be able to spike all the way down to this blue support and resistance area before we're able to look for those buying opportunities. But for right now, since we're so close to the seller's area, let's wait for either the pullback or the breach to the upside. And if the price actually holds above, then we should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities as well. So hope the game plan is clear on the euro against the Japanese yen. Moving on to the next euro pair, we do have the euro against the US dollar. Now, brand new entry on our watch list, and overall here we will be looking for buying opportunities. It seems that there is some correlation coming in with the euro pairs, because all of them seem to be within this main seller's area. But the main thing we want to see is what kind of reaction are we going to get. Since everyone must be looking for buys, remember the fact that the price has breached and it's just holding here. That's not necessarily the best sign. Many people will start jumping in on buys, especially breakout traders. So for us, we will still be hoping to see if we can end up getting some sort of pullback, or we'll wait to see how those news events do end up reacting on the charts. But overall, we will definitely be looking for buys. If the price is able to hold above, then we should be able to continue looking for those opportunities then. But for right now, I think we do need to be patient. Remember, the whole aspect is whenever we're trading, market makes higher highs and higher lows. If that's the case, we're always looking to buy at the higher lows. So right now, you can clearly see we made a higher high, we got a pullback. This should have been an area to buy. But right now, the fact that we're all the way up there, we don't know how far it's going to go. That's not the best place to look for your buy. Let's wait for the pullback first before we're able to take that trading opportunity. So hope that is clear as we move on to the next euro pair we do have. So right here, we have the euro against the New Zealand dollar. So on this kind of pair, yesterday, our bias was to look for selling opportunities. However, we can clearly see once at 10 o'clock, because as soon as the Frankfurt market did end up opening, the price was holding to the upside. It never came back in. So this pair did fall off our watch list immediately. But Today, the biases have switched on the fundamentals, so we'll be looking for buying opportunities today. So we'll be focusing on these three areas. If you realize, again, we have another euro pair that is back within an area where they're sellers. So we'll be interested to see what happens, especially when the markets are about to open and they're within a buyers or sellers area. Those areas are most likely to react. And that's the reason why in this situation, most likely we'll be waiting to see if we could end up getting some sort of pullback coming in before we're able to look for the buy, or what could end up happening, the news event could just push this market to the upside. And if that's the case, it's a similar situation. We wait for the pullback to come in before we're able to look for those buying opportunities there. So pretty clear cut on the euro against the New Zealand dollar. So if we move on to the next and last euro pair, let's see if it's also within the seller's area. We can clearly see it is. So yesterday, we did end up having this kind of pair, but we did end up having it for a sell. You can see the three areas that we had highlighted. Now, during the London market open, the price was within the buyer's area, so there was no selling opportunity yet. Wanted to see whether or not could end up getting this price coming to the downside and holding below. Unfortunately, you can clearly see the price managed to go all the way to the extreme, but there was a very nice move on it to the downside. You can see this is around 2 o'clock where the price did end up reacting within there. But you can see once we saw the sellers reacting, there was a pullback coming in within that location around 4 o'clock. So there was a very nice selling opportunity there. If you did make sure you manage your trade within this particular buyer's area. Because you can see the trade did work out till then, around 4:30 or so. But after that, the market did manage to go to the upside. So ideally, the fundamentals did change at that time. So today, the bias is still going to be looking for buys, or at least it is going to be looking for buying opportunities. You can see where we are. We're within an area where there's sellers. Similar situation with the other euro pairs. So we need one of two things. Either this pullback needs to come in within the support and resistance area, where we can get some sort of probe or price action signal for us to look for buying opportunities, or we could end up easily getting this price breaking this support and resistance area to the upside. And if we do end up seeing that and the price goes above, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities then as well. But for right now, let's be patient. Let's wait to see how the fundamentals do end up coming out. So hope that is clear on all the euro pairs as we move on to the next currency pairs that we do have, which are the British pound pairs. So we'll start off with the British pound against the Swiss franc. So on this currency pair, this is a brand new entry on our watch list. And our bias here is to look for buying opportunities. So there are three areas that we had identified, but it seems the market does seem to be attempting to run away. Remember, we do have some British pound fundamentals, so I would not advise you to necessarily jump in on any trades just yet, probably until after 10 o'clock. But let's wait to see what ends up happening. If the price ends up holding to the upside, then we probably might end up finding a buying opportunity. But the way the buyers are coming up, it's not necessarily the most convincing. Ideally, for me, I would rather let the price come down a bit lower, probably even just come back within the support and resistance area before looking for a buying opportunity then. But right now, let's wait to see. Ideally, you're not necessarily meant to force your will onto the market. You're meant to just watch to see what the market does, then react based on that. So in this situation, let's wait to see what ends up happening, then we'll react. So moving on to the next pair we do have, which is the British pound against the Japanese yen, brand new entry on our watch list. And you can clearly see the yen pairs really did work out quite well yesterday, showing us a lot of weakness. But overall, today, the bias is going to be still looking for buying opportunities on this pair. You can see we have approached an area where there are sellers, and you can see the reason why I always encourage, if it's not necessarily a strong beat, most likely it's going to just end up being a probe. So you can see in this situation, we've not reached this area. So the fact that we're probing, most likely we could end up coming down lower, maybe giving us some sort of pullback in this area over here before we're able to look for buying opportunities. But also take note of this particular support and resistance area. Remember, the yen pairs are very much correlated. You can see the way the market has gone up. Even though we're focusing on this area, we have a support and resistance area right here. If we do look at the euro against the Japanese yen, you can see it's something similar where the price had gone up. Yes, we've also gotten a probe, but the price could potentially also come back within this support and resistance area. So just watch out for that on the yen pairs. So remember, they are very much correlated. So in this one, let's wait to see what ends up happening as we move on to the next currency pair we do have. So right here is the British pound against the US dollar. I think this is the trade Alvin, you didn't mind to grab a British pound against the US dollar. So very well done. It seems that you grabbed that sell. But remember, I did point out the market did end up coming back and turning. That's the reason why it's always best to manage your trade, moving your stop loss lower and lower to secure as much as possible. But at least I know you did secure most of your trade there. So still very good job on that. But today, the bias is going to be looking for buying opportunities, and we will focus on these three areas. Right now, it's a similar situation. The price looks as if it's breaking this area to the upside, but it's not necessarily going up quite strong. But in this situation, let's wait to see. Remember the fact that we have some aggressive, there's a lot of high impact fundamentals coming out at 10 o'clock today. We'll wait to see what ends up happening. Could probably get a pullback coming back within here. And the fact that it's so high impact, don't even be surprised that the price can come back all the way down to the red support and resistance area before we're able to look for buying opportunities. But let's wait to see what ends up happening there. But overall, I think this one should be quite clear. There's not really nothing much for us to do. If the price ends up holding above, that's okay. But for now, just based on the fact that these news events are coming out, it might not necessarily be a good idea. So moving on to the next pair that we do have, we did have the British pound against the New Zealand dollar yesterday. However, since both these pairs were on the opposite sides as well yesterday we were looking for selling opportunities. However, the sell did not work out. Remember, we did have our red support and resistance area within here, mentioning if we were able to get the price holding below, then we could potentially look for selling opportunities. But you can see the price breaches here to the upside, was continuing to hold above during the London market open and continued going up. So at that point in time, it did fall off our watch list. But today, the fact that the biases have switched, we will be looking for buying opportunities on this pair. We have identified 3 areas of interest where the buys could potentially work out from. So we have this particular 3 areas. So right now, the fact that the price is back within the seller's area, definitely not a place to look for your buying opportunities. Let's wait to see if we can end up getting some sort of pullback within the support and resistance area to look for buying opportunities there. Remember, we do have British pound fundamentals coming out, so price can still probably even pull back all the way down to the red SNR. But remember, if the price is able to break this area to the upside and we do end up finding it holding above, then we should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities on the British pound against the New Zealand dollar. So I hope it's clear on GBP NZD as we move on to the next and last currency pair we do have, which is the British pound against the Canadian dollar. Now, yesterday, we did have this currency pair. You can see the 3 areas that we had highlighted, but we had it for a sell. Today, it is for a buy. But you can see the 3 areas based on what we're looking at did end up working out quite well. Similar situation with the British pound against the US dollar. Seems that the US dollar and the Canadian dollar seem to be correlated quite a bit recently. But you can see, we wanted to see what kind of reaction we get in this particular area. During the London session, hardly anything did end up coming in. You can see the market was just ranging. But it was once the US market did end up coming in at around 4:30, that's when the price really did drop to the downside, giving a very nice selling opportunity, making sure to manage your trade within this buyer's area. Because you can see the price attempted to break this area to the downside, but it was just a probe because it came back in and held above. You can see after that, the push did end up happening to the upside. So today, the buyers here is going to be looking for buying opportunities, no longer any sells. We will focus on these 3 areas to look for the potential buys. So you can see the same correlation coming in with all these British pound pairs where they do seem to be within an area where they're sellers. So that being the case, let's wait to see. We could potentially be in some sort of range where we could end up either finding the market coming down within this particular area before we're able to find those buying opportunities. What could also end up happening is the price could end up getting a lot of strength. And if we do find the pullback coming in, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities at that point in time. So wait to see what ends up happening within here. But on this one, I will be on the sidelines for now, at least until the Frankfurt market opens, and at least to see what happens with all these news events that are actually going to come out. You can see a lot of British pound news, so do end up expecting a lot of volatility. Don't jump in on your trades then. You might find a liquidity grab where the market just spikes up and down, going to stop everyone out before it actually moves in that direction. So that's the reason why we'd always encourage, just be a bit patient, wait for that nonsense to happen, then you can end up jumping in. So hope that is clear on all the kinds of pairs. As you can see, we've mixed and matched all the pairs on the buy side with the pairs on the sell side. So right now we're going to have a look at the indices before we do end up looking at gold and silver. So we'll start off with the NASDAQ. So on the NAS 100, yesterday our bias here was to look for buying opportunities. You can see the 3 areas that I had pointed out. Now, it did seem, let me just go up to a higher time frame, that this market seems to be in this huge range. You can see just bouncing between these levels. And it seems that that's exactly what the market is attempting to do to try and come down all the way to that particular area. So the fact that we're looking for buying opportunities, even if the price did not manage to get all the way down within this area, or you did not necessarily jump on the trade at 5:30, you can clearly see this level, this middle level right here was never actually broken, because when the price came down, it came back in and showed us confirmation that it was holding to the upside. So there could have been a potential buying opportunity then, being able to take the market to the upside. So today, apologies for that. Today, the buyers here is going to still be looking for buying opportunities. So we'll be focusing pretty much on the same areas because right now the market doesn't look as if it's attempting to break this area to the upside, but we haven't gotten a proper confirmation since the price hasn't fully held above. So we'll still be focusing on these three areas to look for the buys. But right now, let's wait to see. If we can end up getting the price actually holding through the upside, then we could potentially look for the buying opportunities then. But let's go up to a higher time frame and see. You can see the fact that the market were within a big seller's area, then you can see how many times the market has proved. Even if it's gone up quite high, the prices have come all the way down quite aggressive. So just be careful about that. Just because we are on the upside, that doesn't necessarily mean it is directly for a buy. We could easily even find the market giving us a pullback, maybe even coming back down towards this blue support and resistance area right here before we do end up finding those buying opportunities coming in. So this one, we just need to be a bit patient. The way the buyers are coming in is quite struggling, but we'll wait to see. So hope that's clear. As we move on to the next pair that we do have, right here we have the Dow Jones. So this one, this pair yesterday, our buyers was to look for selling opportunities. It is still the same situation today. Now, yesterday, the fact that the price was within this particular area, can clearly see where we were looking for potential selling opportunity. We wanted to see the price breaking this area to the downside and holding below. Although this one might have been a bit difficult to get because yes, it did move at 430, but it didn't move within this particular seller's area and we were holding above particular buyer's area. However, the price still did manage to come down quite aggressive, although we never really got the price actually holding below, especially when you end up going to a higher time frame. It should be quite clear. Right here, we're on the 1 hour time frame. You can clearly see this market does seem to be ranging between these two levels, just bouncing between them, at least respecting them. And the support and resistance area does seem to be holding because you can see how many times this market has probed within this location. You can see the fact that we did get a very nice probe and the price is actually holding through the upside. So we will still be looking for selling opportunities based on the fact that these are the main sellers who did push it to the downside. The fact that we got this market coming down very aggressive, we did not get our pullback coming in. That might be what's actually going to be happening today. So in this situation, we'll still be looking for sells, but we'll be focusing on the same areas and we'll wait to see how this market reacts within this support and resistance area. If we can actually get this pullback, you can see that after a breach, we want the price to pull back to that support and resistance area. Since the price breached aggressive, we're hoping this is that pullback coming in. So if the price ends up coming in within the support and resistance area, we see it holding, chances are we could end up finding a nice selling opportunity, the continuation of these sellers. You can see they did push it down once, just one candle, and look at how many candles it's taken just to get to this point, and it's not even really gotten to the same high. We definitely know the sellers are still in control in this market. So I hope the game plan is clear on what we're going to do on the Dow Jones as we move on to the next pair that we do have, which is silver. Now on silver, yesterday our bias was to look for buying opportunities, and it is still the same situation today. You can see the three areas that we had pointed out. Buys worked out quite well because during the London session, we were within an area where the sellers, look at the market giving us a pullback, came back within the buyer's area. We do know the time that was around 4:30. I think there's the same trade, Bravin, you did manage to end up grabbing. Very nice buying opportunity there. If you did miss that trade, you can see once the price broke this area to the upside and held above. This was around 5:30. So you can clearly see this illustration that I had pointed out. It exactly seems like exactly what ended up happening. Once the price came down, we reached the upside. There was a hold above. That also gave another opportunity to take the buy. So you can clearly see we will still be looking for buying opportunities today. We'll still be focusing on the same areas because right now we're back within the same seller's area, even though we haven't yet reached it. But overall, we will definitely still be looking for these buying opportunities. But the fact that within an area where there are sellers, remember, we need one of two things. Either the price needs to give us a pullback to come in within maybe this support and resistance area to look for those buying opportunities, or we need the price to actually breach this area to the upside. If we see the price holding above, we should be able to continue looking for buying opportunities as well on silver. So, hope the game plan is clear. This trade worked out very, very well. And best in, then if we just go to a higher time frame, you can see we're back within this huge, huge high. Seems like, let me just go up to the 4-hour time frame. Seems that the buyers could potentially continue going up higher. Remember, I think I pointed out, you can clearly see these big buyers are the ones who pushed it up. This is the main support and resistance area. We got a pullback coming in. The buyers ended up reacting. I think that was the main push to the upside. And the fact that the sellers are hardly reacting within this main seller's area there's a high probability we will be breaking this area to the upside. And remember, if we hold above, then we should be able to look for buying opportunities. Be aware that the last few times within this area, you can see how many times it has probed within that location. So do be careful about that. But if we get the price holding above, then definitely we will be continuing to look for our buying opportunities here on silver. So hope the game plan is clear as we move on to the next and last pair that we do have, which is gold. So on gold, yesterday, I remember I had pointed out we were within a seller's market, but I had also looked at the higher time frame as well. So let's first look at the fact that yesterday, since we were looking for sells based on these three areas, the market ended up giving us a pullback. In fact, it gave us a sell during the London market open. So the price managed to continue coming down throughout London, managed to even hold. Seems like it had reached and held below this area. You can see at 4, the price did attempt to actually end up coming to the downside. But similar situation, this was just a huge probe where the price went to the upside, came back again, showing us confirmation the price holding above. And it came all the way back down, back up to the main sellers that we did end up having. So yes, once the price did manage to break this area today to the upside, the buyers did end up switching, moving from a sell that we did end up having yesterday to the buy. So right now we'll be focusing on these three areas to look for these potential buys. You can see the price did reach this area to the upside. There's a high probability we could get this price pulling back towards this support and resistance area. So in this situation, let's wait to see if we can end up getting the price giving us a pullback, coming back potentially within this support and resistance area, giving us some sort of probe or price action signal before we're able to look for buying opportunities. Remember, if I do go up to a higher time frame, similar to what I explained yesterday, I had mentioned that yes, we were within a seller's market yesterday, but that was based on the shorter time frame, based on the fact that there was this push to the upside, and this was probably just a pullback before we're able to go to the upside. Remember, I had pointed out it could be holding within this support and resistance area, or it could even come back down within this location. And you can see it did end up attempting quite low to come down within that area. I think most of you are recognizing a very nice pin bar there that did end up giving a very nice entry criteria, but it did point out that the fact that we were still within a bias to watch out for that. And it seems that the bias did end up taking off to the upside. And today we'll definitely still be looking for those buys. So let's wait to see if we can get that pullback coming in for us to look for the buys. You can see we're within a major seller's area. You can see this is the true support and resistance area where the market did give a huge probe, showed us confirmation it was holding below. So in this situation, so if we're able to get the price actually breaking this area to the upside, since you have seen that it is a major level, the price is able to go to the upside and it does end up holding above, you could definitely find a very nice buying opportunity available for you on gold. So that's it for all the kinds of pairs, including gold and silver, including also the indices. So let me see if there are any questions on the chat box. So I'm not seeing any, which is okay. I think everything should be clear. Remember, guys, do take note. Don't necessarily start jumping in on trades right now. We do have a number of fundamentals coming out. You can clearly see some very high impact news for the British pound as well as for the euro, all coming out at 10 o'clock. So the Frankfurt market open. So what you might find is the big moves, some huge moves happen where the market might get some liquidity grabs during this time. But you might find that now the London big boys will take this information and now actually use it at 11 o'clock. So don't think that just because the news is coming out at 10, if the market starts to move at that time, there'll be no opportunity. Chances are you could find the market, yes, moving at 10, but you'll see a pullback coming back, and by 11, you're back within a very nice area to actually take that trading opportunity. So just be patient about that. But remember, if you're not in the Telegram channel, there should be a link in the video description, and we will end up informing you if there are any changes to the watchlist. So I guess that's it from me and from us. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. Hope you have found value in these sessions. Remember, if you have anything that you'd like us to do, any suggestions, feel free to let them be known to us, because ideally we are doing this for you guys and want to try and improve the best way we can. Once again, thank you guys so much. Have an amazing trading day. God bless. Happy trading. Bye for now. Cheers, guys.